What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal, Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check. This is your preview for Saturday night's main event, and we're going to touch on some news as well, and that is Jake fucking DeMarco.
I'm telling you, buddy, it's been a crazy week in the world of wrestling, and it only gets crazier, but in pretty much the best way possible. We're closer to...
They've got several weekends in a row of stuff. Before we cut into all the fun stuff, I just want to send a quick plug out there for anybody that is interested. I've got a friend of mine that is currently doing a fundraiser for her birthday for the Canadian Mental Health Association. If anybody is interested in participating, if you go to my X right now, the pinned tweet on, is it still a tweet? I don't know. The pinned post on my X account at Spaz Phoenix is all the information for that fundraiser. If you guys would like to participate, I would love to see that. If not, a like and a share and a post never hurt anybody. I'd appreciate any help we can get with that. Jake's already shared it out for me. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
And it's there, and this is why I don't do advertising. This is my plug for my friend doing the fundraiser, doing the thing. She's doing a good thing. I'm trying to help her do a good thing, and now we're going to do a good podcast, hopefully. It's tired in here. Anyway, Saturday night's main event.
Well, think about it. We've had so much going on, so much to go through. It's good to have a little bit of positivity as well at the beginning, you know. And everybody, you can check my Twitter or yours and a few other socials. Check that stuff out. Donate if you can. But you're exactly right. Think about it. We had, Survivor Series that warped into Deadline that now warps into Saturday night's main event.
Oh, but Jake, you can't listen to you and me. We're just like WWE dick riders. Haven't you heard?
Oh, we're the non-paid shills, my friend. I know
I'm making a conscious decision to not talk about the Ray Phoenix thing, but let's just
we got to touch on it really quick because
be careful who we're defending here.
that tweet that Tony Khan sent out, or at least a statement in response, was baffling.
It's okay that we didn't give him medical treatment, and it's okay that we're trapping him in a contract that he doesn't want to be in because his English isn't good.
Yes, they exactly said, I sent you for tacos, not to the hospital. My bad, G. I mean, that's exactly what he said there. He's like, I didn't know, I thought you were hungry, so I sent you to a restaurant because I don't speak Spanish, but why would I implore anybody else that does, or a translator, or, any other of the possible abilities? You could even get a fan to translate for free for an autograph. Christ. He's like, we're committed to providing the best care because, it's where the best wrestle.
Jake, at what point do we put the two different parts of this story together? We didn't help you get medical care, which extended the time that you were away for medical reasons so that we could tack on that medical time so that you could not go to WWE.
And they have two completely different systems at place. And some people like the WWE side, some people like AEW side. AEW... you can pick whatever doctor you want. You do it all yourself. Yep. You pick the doctor, the surgeon. You pay for it.
They don't even pick you up from
pocket.
the airport.
No, they can't even set up a ride for you. You have to take the subway to your, the tube.
The tube.
The tube, my friend.
Still kills me that they call it the tube. But
I know.
Hey, that's neither here nor there.
But AEW allows you choices, but you have to do it all on your own. You have to find a sports medicine doctor, see if you need surgery, get the surgery. You pay for it all on your own, and then you submit your bills to the AEW employee app, and they refund you or refund most of it, I guess, not all at times.
Oh, good.
As where WWE, if you get injured while working for them,
it's a machine.
They're going to send you to Dr. Andrews in Alabama or wherever. You're going to go here. This is who you're going to see. But they're also sending you to the best.
Yeah.
So it's not like, I didn't have a choice. They sent me to the best doctor in the world. How terrible. So WWE pays for top-notch care, but you have to go where they say. You have to do as they say. You have to follow their regimen and whatnot, but they're also paying for it. As where AEW does it the complete opposite way. And you could say, which is better? Do you want choice? Do you need choice? Do you need, there's 100 ways to phrase this. But what we know so far is a lot of talent have completely lambasted and cried about the health and healthcare system set up in AEW. So for him to outwardly admit, we didn't get you medical treatment, we didn't take care of you, and now we're adding it on to your contract.
Yeah. It feels like, and yes, I'm going to get the tinfoil hat comments out there and all that kind of thing, but it feels like a plan at that point.
Yeah.
Because if they were unhappy, they like the Lucha Brothers, like unhappy or just considering other options, depending on how you want to look at it, right? That doesn't happen overnight.
No, it doesn't.
And them not being used is not something that happened overnight either.
And people used to complain that Vince would bury people on the way out,
Yep.
but at least they were on TV being
Yep.
used. I mean, Ricky Starks has not wrestled a match since March.
This is the opposite. Like, this is people. I don't want to go too much into this. I really don't. But this is like a burial on TV. Oh, you lost. Okay, whatever. Okay, Ricochet lost on the way out. But he went out in fantastic style going up against a monster in a scene on television that we still remember, like him getting plowed in the parking lot by Bronson Reed and whatever. Like, he lost, but he lost spectacularly.
The way
right?
he got dropped on his face there and knocked the wind out of himself was such a brutal fall when he got thrown by Braun.
What Tony Khan is doing, speculation on my part, I'll put all the bullshit preamble in front of it, he's burying them worse, because what he's doing is he's taking them out of the environment. He's taking them out of the conversation. He's taking the oxygen out of their name well before they can do anything about it.
You nailed it. Out of sight, out of mind, and that's really what it comes down to here. He just... it rubs me the wrong way with how people have been treated so far, and I get it. I see what you're trying to achieve, but you're not doing it in any good way possible.
It's spiteful.
And
if they were in a good place, he would do what he used to do. Like, Dustin's going to go watch Cody have his big WrestleMania moment. Okay, try not to be caught on camera or whatever. Regal wasn't happy, wanted to go back to NXT. He let Regal go. Cool enough, whatever the case may be. When things are good, people can afford to make themselves look like the nice guy. Right now, his ship is sinking, and he's taking out his vengeance on the rats that are leaving the ship.
Oh, no doubt. And you look back, I was actually looking up ratings earlier today for a different thing that I'm working on, and I was, going back and forth, and I'm telling you, I was talking to Sith, and AEW started out their first year averaging about 900,000 viewers. Yeah. Then it dropped down.
Yeah, they were right at the milli mark. Like, they didn't really hit it during the Wednesday Night War, I don't think, except for like the first couple of episodes. Curiosity does that.
Yeah,
good for
they
them.
broke
Happy
a million
for them.
a couple of times, but it wasn't consistent, and it didn't average out that way.
When people were coming at them and saying, "Oh, it wasn't a million this week, but it was like 900 and something," I'm like, okay. I like the shots. I'm on this side of the fence, but you guys are stretching a little.
Yeah. Oh, it's 989, and they were beating NXT consistently, and there was a lot of things
That's
that were happening
why I
at that
always
time.
talk about that one night in December 18th, a couple of years ago.
Yeah, when they had the Dark Order beat the hell out of everybody in the ring and put their fist in their mouth.
But it was the one night for us.
NXT, yes.
And I called it the night we beat Dynamite, and it was that one that was headed up by Balor, Cole, Baszler, and Ripley.
Rhea got the title that night. That was huge. I mean,
and look at now.
Legitimately huge.
Look at now. Baszler's sort of okay, but look at Ripley and look at Finn Balor.
Exactly. They're all being used.
And Adam Cole
Finn's
went
world champion.
Adam Cole went the other way. And how's he doing right now?
Yeah, and that's a great point. And I know some people are like, well, that's not really a fair... It's a perfect comparison. I mean, he didn't even break his ankle in the damn ring. He did it jumping off the ramp to see MJF. Hey, I've broken my ankle in 5 places. I know how much it sucks. Yeah. And let me tell you what.
To be clear, we're not blaming Tony Khan for Adam Cole breaking his foot and the other issues that he's had. But since he's come back... Like, it's storyline soup, and that's a whole other story altogether. Anyways, I just wanted to say, since we're now opening Pandora's box, I'm going to say hashtag free Ray Phoenix. It's a thing.
Yeah, it is a thing.
Hashtag free Ricky Starks. Hashtag free all the other people that probably also want to leave and don't want to speak up because they don't want to be punished. But yeah, I want to get us back on a positive track.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. So things with WWE have just felt very good. The only time AEW had their ratings increase is when they had the debuts of Punk, Daniel Bryan, Ryan Danielson, and Adam Cole. When they had that for All Out 2021. So names that had been
established by WWE.
Exactly. So they weren't independent people that were... Exactly. You nailed it. So... I look now and I see how their booking philosophy has changed drastically, and both companies have. Yeah. So I went back to 2019, and I'm like, all right, let's really think about this. What's different from here to now? Tony wasn't booking at that point yet. Tony didn't start booking until that they lost that night, and they did the horrible Dark Order angle that the Elite got beat out of, and the Dark Order members weren't even like punching anybody. It just looked...
Oh, the guy that was punching the ground?
Yeah, and they were putting their fingers inside everybody's mouth, and it just looked very stupid.
And again, I want
to
be clear. Like, everybody talks about that guy punching the ground. Like, I'm not digging on that guy. I don't even remember who that was. It was a funny moment.
I think it was Reynolds, Alex Reynolds.
Okay.
But even still, the camera is what fucked them there.
Oh, exactly. But I want to be clear. Like, we're not digging on the wrestlers in this case. It's a funny moment. It got memed to hell. He's probably never going to hear the end of it.
No,
but
it
that
wasn't
whole
really a big
story
deal. But
sucked. The initial Dark Order, like, now you can't say anything bad about it because they attached, the late great Brody Lee to it. So everybody says, "Oh, you must be disrespectful to so and so." It's like, no, they sucked. They were Power Ranger putties before he showed up.
And then afterwards, they had the great tribute show, and then did nothing with them. They never got any titles. The group didn't go anywhere. Anna Jay left.
And I'm sorry that I'll be the unpopular one to say it. Those got a bit egregious too.
Yeah, Stu Grayson.
They kept on going back to it. They kept, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
They were hammering that home hard.
I'm sure he has a great time. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not wishing bad on a kid, but like, how many times can you prop up, somebody who's just passed away kid and be like, look how good I am. I'm being so cool to this kid. Okay, you're creepy now.
Yeah, it's where Cody was bringing him out, like behind the scenes or at Mania or things like that. Yep. They didn't want the pop. He was just like, oh, I have the kid here as my guest. Like, the camera cut to him, but only because he's with my mom.
He wasn't a prop.
Exactly. And the only reason people noticed is because the camera cut when he was with his mom, and people noticed. It wasn't like WWE's interviewing Brody Lee's son and, Brian Pillman Jr., tell us about your dad. We weren't getting that. We weren't getting the silly...
Hey, but the Brian Pillman Jr., like, first of all, Brian Pillman Jr. is an adult. He's an employee.
No doubt.
He's in a storyline.
It just makes me laugh how, like, AEW failed that one as well when they had the behind the scenes of Beyond the Mat. No, what is it called? Dark Side of the Ring, excuse me. And from there, they basically just, like, completely befuddled any possibility they could with him. Like, they had a chance, and it just did not come to fruition because of how they handled him. So just another unfortunate side of things. But really what I'm mainly trying to get at is the booking philosophies were so different, and they've changed drastically again. How they train, how they prepare, how they handle week to week, how they handle stories. We see AEW at times still with Tony in command where stories are booked, and then if they have to preempt anything or tape anything in that sort, it ends up being a bit of a mess because you can't always predict what's going to happen. As where WWE tape shows, even if someone gets injured on the first show, they have it set for the same night for the second show ready to go. They're prepared. And I know part of that is experience and time, and I get all that. But the big issue now is that they feel drastically different. AEW does not need to make any type of positive revenue so long as Tony wants to continually fund it. Yeah. If TNA,
or you mean Shad?
Well, yes, really, his father. But if TNA had a financial backer like they have in AEW, how much, if Anthem really put money into them, like Sith said earlier, they would be a true number 2 contender. Because look what they're doing over there.
I think I sent it to you. They're testing, and I hope they do it slowly because I don't want to see them tip over the edge.
Yeah, you don't want to have them.
But they're trying a couple of arenas next year. I don't have them offhand because those are not one of the bookmarks I have in front of me right now.
Yeah.
But they're trying out a couple of, I think one of them's for Genesis and one is the month after or whatever. But they're tiptoeing into that arena territory. Now, I said back when we talked about Deadline, I said NXT's kind of going the TNA route where you get some really interesting venues because they're not immediately going to arenas.
Yes.
But TNA is long overdue to be an arena-sized show.
Oh, I agree entirely. And even more so, it's just how drastically different both sides are. And we saw how Triple H handled NXT when he got it. And we loved the black and gold era with a passion. And then Vince kind of got a bug up his ass, went down there and made it the unicorn vomit disaster NXT 2.0 that we knew. But even then,
you know what we got out of that? Do you know what we got out of that?
What?
Braun Breaker and Tiffany Stratton.
That's what I was getting at. There were still nuggets of greatness in there because it was still Triple H's system. It was still what he put in place. It was just being booked
with a really weird shiny veneer on it.
Exactly.
I
And
said
now
it
they got
before.
HBK in there.
Yeah.
So we had Triple H, we had Vince, now we have Triple H / HBK again. Like it's
Yeah,
we see
I've
how
said it before.
people book
Triple H
differently.
brought all the ideas that he put into original NXT. He kept the ones that worked, and he's slowly applying them on the main roster. And he knows it has to go the other way around. They brought in a little bit more sports entertainment to the NXT brand. So if I'm not saying in terms of quality, but if one's a 1 and one's a 10, I think they brought them down to like an 8 and a 6. As far as like how close they are as far as product. The only thing I will say as well, you mentioned, WWE has the experience, they've been doing it a lot longer.
Yes.
I would give AEW that breathing room if they weren't the ones that said, hey, we're coming for WWE.
Exactly.
And they said that. And I'm sorry, like, if you tell me you're coming for WWE, I'm going to hold you to the standard of WWE. You can't all of a sudden tuck tail now and it's like, oh, well, they've got such an advantage over us and blah, blah, blah.
Well, they didn't even realize when they started Dynamite, they're like, oh my God, we need people for TV. We need producers. We need people that know how to film. Like, yeah, we got the talent, but what... and it showed, and that's why they were so understaffed and overbooked at those point in times. But now, my big thing is that we see how wrestlers are handled and how Dynamite week to week usually leaves you lacking somewhere. No matter what, whether it's a tag in women's division or it feels missing.
There was I'm gonna say this. There was 5 seconds of excitement on Dynamite last night, and that was when we found out, okay, cool, they're finally not having Toni Storm do the stupid 50s black and white gimmick anymore.
She
got a huge pop. She looked like she was really emotional. She looked like she was happy to be back in her own skin type of thing.
Oh, no doubt. But they put her back on Rampage. She's coming back on a canceled show.
Here's the thing. And I'm not going to say any names, but you know who I'm talking about. Somebody from What Culture had the balls to say, "Oh my God, they've ruined Toni Storm. That what do you call it? The timeless gimmick was absolutely perfect. That was 100% her. When she came out last night, it felt like such a gimmick." So you mean when she came out as herself,
she felt like a gimmick?
It was a gimmick. Like, I get it, and I give the same credit to Timeless Toni Storm that I gave to Nikki ASH in WWE. Nikki ASH, I will always stand up for her doing the superhero thing because she had an idea. She wanted to do something for kids. She had a very specific direction. It wasn't for me. It wasn't for us and our, like, these types of conversations. She wanted to do, like, a superhero comic book thing. She wanted to do something for the kids.
Yeah.
It fell on its face, but I'm glad she did it.
As am I, yeah.
Toni Storm, apparently really liked doing the timeless thing. She even though I didn't like it, you and I had this conversation a lot. Even though I didn't like it, she threw everything she had into it. I got to give her 100% credit for that.
But she tried, and that says a lot.
Yeah.
My main point though with this is by showing through the dichotomy of both things, you truly finally see, hey, there really finally is something for everybody on WWE television.
Oh, yeah.
If you like the women, you've got that. If you like the men, you've got that. If you like
the women, don't watch AEW.
If you like the tag division, guess what? SmackDown is tearing up the tag division with some great stories. We've gotten heel turns, we've gotten surprises, and everything made sense. We've gotten great stories in NXT. We've got, things feel logical and purposeful and intentional, as where the other side just kind of right now feels like it's clamoring and drowning and not getting to what they need.
Not a lot.
No, but
you know what?
What was there for us last night? What was there to really enjoy? None of the matches did I really care for because, yes, it's a tournament and you want to, but it just felt very.
And Will Ospreay looks like he's in a boy band now.
Yeah, just felt very like, dream match, put him 2 here, that's it. Like, you had the champion lose several times. Why is the champion even in the Classic? Shouldn't like the winner go for the? Or,
if I wanted to,
do you have to strip the winner every year, and then they have to get the belt again? Like, it doesn't make sense. It just what they're going for doesn't work because it's not logical. It's just
if you
stupid.
push me. I don't necessarily like the Continental Classic. I'm not against it, but it's not quite for me. If you push me last night, other than like 5 seconds of Toni Storm being Toni Storm again, I didn't have a bad time watching Brody King and Ricochet.
No. And
Ricochet
like I said,
seems like he's
they'll be
leaning
good
into the heel
matches,
thing,
but-
which is kind of cool, something we didn't see in WWE. Fair enough. But I'm going to take this. I'm going to take this conversation that I didn't think we were going to have, quite frankly. I'm going to go because we have a show to preview. We also have some news things that we didn't get to touch on last night because I was having computer issues. So I'm going to weave some of these positive WWE stories, because yes, I'm that guy, into the preview as well, and it will fill out the preview and make it super long, and I'm sure half of you will make it to the end. So you got one
But no, that was my honest point, and that's what I was trying to get into, was to tell you that you're absolutely right, because this weekend we have 5 matches on a card, and it feels stacked. It feels gigantic. It feels massive. It feels a little bit like not a revolution in a sense, but like back to form. For them to be able to go back on primetime NBC is mind-blowing.
I'm holding my breath a little bit, because one of the things we said a while ago was they have to really tell us what this is, because it's not a weekly show and it's not a pay-per-view. They're trying to find a sweet spot in the middle, and we're not going to get to talk about it because I'm not going to be with you on your review on Saturday. But if they don't land this and give it its specific feeling, I'm going to call it out. I'm not going to say it'll ruin the show necessarily. Look at the talent involved in this show. It's not going to be a bad show, but they've got one chance to say, okay, we're bringing back Saturday night's main event and we're doing 5 of them. This is what Saturday night's main event is.
Yes.
So here's my transition that I'm really fumbling over. We went from a company that almost has no women's division to a company with an awesome women's division. Now,
thanks to NXT.
Well, thanks to NXT, but also just in general, like the entire way that it's being held now on all 3 shows. Oh, yeah.
But I'm sorry, I know another topic for another time, but if Triple H didn't have those women already somewhat established in NXT, for the people to notice them and be like, oh, wait, women can wrestle like this, let's give them a chance, I don't think we would have gotten that give viewers a chance hashtag and whatnot, because people weren't exposed to anyone in women's wrestling like because we didn't have it then. We had the Bellas, and we had, that was kind of it. We didn't get much else, so. And
ironically, the Bellas are the ones that take credit for the give divas a chance thing, because it technically trended during their 1-minute match.
Yeah, when it was really Emma and Paige, but
whoever. Well, it's like Sasha Banks. Put them in the ring with people that are good, and they'll look good too. Anyways, not going to go into the Bella thing today. I used to really, really support them. Sad how things turn out.
Right.
So, the women's locker room is insane in WWE right now. Can you imagine?
Off the charts.
Can you imagine being the locker room leader of the women's division in WWE right now?
Being a locker room leader in general is absolutely crazy. Never mind. I mean, who would you even say? Rhea is on top?
No, I'm not saying who's the biggest star right now.
No. But who's leading the locker room? Yeah, I wonder who would be that.
Well, I don't really know, because I'm not back there. But somebody who is back there is Cody Rhodes.
Yes.
And Cody Rhodes says it's Bayley.
I've heard that before as well.
Here's the quote. He was speaking to Jazzy's World TV, which is something I've never heard of, but the quote I'm taking is from No DQ, and it said, here's the thing people don't know about Bayley. She's probably the actual locker room leader. Like, if you want a captain, like somebody with a C on their jersey, it's probably her and Randy Orton, in terms of getting something done, in terms of, hey, this person needs to get this out of them, this person needs to get this out of them, and hey, we need this kind of energy for this show. She's the locker room leader, ... and she should be.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
I can't argue with that, and I think that's really cool. I think in the midst of not her greatest booking recently, let's be a little bit honest, coming off of WrestleMania, you can see a lot of, like, the girls she brought in to do the original Damage Control thing with, and the other people that she has worked with more recently. She's really looking at the people she's working with, and I think they're benefiting from it a lot, to the point where I think she's almost not benefiting from it intentionally.
No doubt.
Really, really cool. I mean, Cody Rhodes is the hood ornament of the company right now, so if he says, hey, backstage, Bayley's the locker room leader, I'm going to believe him.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and it feels that way too. So, and that makes a total great deal of sense, especially with everything we've known about Bayley. Because I was trying to say, I'm like, besides Rhea, who's been there the longest at this point? Becky, Charlotte, neither one of them are around.
The cool thing
so
about
that
Rhea
doesn't make a ton of sense.
The cool thing about Rhea is, and yes, we all gush about Rhea Ripley here a lot, because she's a Rhea Ripley fucking star. but Rhea Ripley feels like she's been there longer than she is. She's that much part of the furniture. Part of the furniture in a good way.
Yes.
Before anybody jumps on me in the comment section. But I thought that was really cool. Not that surprising. There's some other people that we're going to talk about later on that aren't that surprising either. But transition that into something that Bayley might be in on Saturday. We don't technically know yet because we technically have to preview SmackDown as well. We are crowning the inaugural Women's United States Champion. It's going to be Bayley or Chelsea Green versus Mia Yim, fuck calling her Michin, or Tiffany Stratton. So we got to predict Bayley versus Chelsea, Michin versus Tiffany Stratton, and the final all at once. So I'm going to let you go first because I have an idea that nobody's going to like.
I'm waiting. Here we go.
Now you go first. I'm throwing you in the Shark Tank.
All right. So someone I don't like?
No. My idea for this is something that people aren't going to like.
Oh, okay.
So on
gotcha.
SmackDown, we got Bayley versus Chelsea. We got Michin versus Tiffany Stratton, and the winners of those two matches go on to Saturday Night's main event to be the first champion. I want your predictions, and then I'm going to give my idea that I don't think anybody's going to like.
I get that. So I thought you meant what would be my worst prediction.
No.
So my honest prediction between these two and who's going to win that shiny new title, I keep going back and forth, and let's see here. So I think it's going to be Chelsea Green over Bayley.
Okay.
Because I think they can tell a story where Bayley's chasing Chelsea afterwards.
Okay.
And then Michin and Tiffany Stratton. See, Tiffany has the briefcase, which makes it even more intriguing. Not for that, but like she could become a champion on either roster at any point in time. So I would say Michin versus Chelsea Green. Both of those two deserve the spotlight because they've not really main evented or been in a high card spot, really.
Right.
So I think that would be a great moment for both of them, and especially for a new title. I mean, you're going to be the women's inaugural U.S. champion. That's huge. So Chelsea Green certainly deserves it. Michin has put in a ton of effort, but I feel like Chelsea Green is the right choice here. You start with a heel, even though the crowd will still pop, she gets a reaction both ways. She gets heel heat and positive reactions because she's just that charismatic and she acts very well. She's very funny. She's relatable. It's there's a lot to her. So you can love or hate her at the same time. So I think Chelsea Green wins the inaugural women's U.S. title.
Okay, so you're going with Chelsea Green. Most people are going with Chelsea Green. My idea kind of builds on that because I don't think Bayley wins. I think Bayley's going to get sucked into something involving, Jade, Bianca, Naomi, drama, whatever. I think Chelsea's going to get the win, but not in the cleanest way possible.
Yeah,
and
because Bayley and Bianca have that history, and we don't know who took out Jade yet still, so...
I think, separate from this show, but I think we get Jade back on Friday with the rumors of her being injured, not injured, but I'm not really basing that on anything. So, on the other side of the coin, trust me, I would love Mia Yim to be up in this spot because she's somebody that kind of feels like she's always there to lose, but there to be cool at the same time. I'm predicting Tiffany Stratton beats Michin, which... on the surface gives you Chelsea Green versus Tiffany Stratton, which on the surface is heel versus heel. But in reality, it's heel that everybody loves in Chelsea Green versus heel that's over as hell in Tiffany Stratton. So,
that was kind of the thing. So
with main event being sort of a different vibe, it's kind of like, I don't want to say a different universe, it's not a fucking MCU movie, but it's kind of going to be a different feel, kind of going to be a different vibe. The feel of the night is kind of going to exist in a bubble. I think they both let down their heel traits a little bit and take this as an opportunity to really, really, really show you what these two women can do, like bell to bell. I think both of them are going to have an opportunity, even though they're bad guys, for the crowd to show how much they love them.
Yeah,
and I think what happens, who wins the match, technically both of them. And it sounds messy, but follow me on this, right? Chelsea Green gets the win. Chelsea Green, a lot of people have followed a lot longer than Tiffany Stratton, obviously. Her getting the big, huge win and being the first ever women's United States champion, you get that for about a minute. Tiffany Stratton, who has fought for the first time kind of honorably, not quite heely, really, really scrapped and almost made it, has a lapse in judgment, cracks Chelsea in the back of the head with the briefcase, and cashes in the money in the bank on Chelsea Green after attacking her with the briefcase. Tiffany Stratton is immediately your second United States champion. Not only that, you have the Money in the Bank briefcase, which is meant to get you a world title match. Well, if you didn't use it for a world title match and you used it for this instead, this brand new belt, walking out for the first time with this brand new belt must mean something.
Yeah, and 2 champions in one night. So you get whoever wins, and then you get the disappointment and the heat on Tiffany. Then she can go to Nia as well. She could say, hey, look, see, I told you I wasn't going to betray you, and that could be their other point.
Yeah, they're not going to do the last bit. I do want it to be Chelsea Green versus Tiffany Stratton because I think that's going to be a match that'll blow everybody away. As much as I love Bayley and as much as, locker room leader, she deserves everything that she gets, I don't see her holding a mid-card title. I want to see her back in the top of the echelon. And Michin, I wish I could believe that they were going to do more with Mia Yim, but I kind of don't right now. And the rocket is on Tiffany Stratton, whether they give her this or not. And Chelsea Green, they're both so obnoxious and they can play off each other so well while they're trying to be not so heely on the night. And you can play with it. It's one of those matches where you can kind of fade from who the characters are to what we know the crowd thinks of the real people. Bayley and Sasha in NXT hugging after their match and having the 4 horsewomen curtain call, even though they're all faces and heels and whatnot. You could have a moment like that, but also cap it off with, okay, we're definitely jerked back into storyline territory now with the briefcase shot, with the immediate cash in, with the immediate second champion on the night. I don't think they're going to do it. I wish they would.
I actually really love that idea, funny enough. So being able to cash in for the new belt certainly adds a bit of prestige, as you said. And my God, I mean, it opens up a lot. So, like I said, Nia can still have her friendship with Tiffany because she didn't cash in on her. Mm-hmm. And now we have a heel win it as well, either which way. So you can have, someone face like a Mia Yim or Bayley chase it, because that's usually the better way to have the titles. Especially when they start.
Similarly, if Chelsea Green wins flat out and just becomes the champion, and Tiffany, maybe Tiffany gets made fun of by Nia for losing, I've got a title, what's wrong with you, and all that sort of thing. We wait a couple weeks till the debut episode of Monday Night Raw on Netflix, and Tiffany Stratton cashes in on whoever the inaugural Intercontinental Champion is. Would be just as impactful, and it would be a jump considering they're in their transfer portal time and all that sort of thing. I'm really hung up on this idea of Tiffany Stratton showing how much the mid-card titles mean by using her Money in the Bank briefcase to accentuate that, I guess.
Yeah, to go ahead. And just to go with what I thought you said before, my worst booked idea would be to have Bayley wins it outright. So Bayley beats Chelsea, and then Bayley just takes the title and celebrates around the ring, and hey, isn't it great? But it couldn't. I don't want to see Bayley be a heel again.
No.
At least not yet. I mean, not for a while. I like her as a face, so
I like her
having
as a face
her be
too,
the attacker, I'm not crazy about either.
It's one of those things where she's that kind of character on TV. Even when she was a heel, I was still rooting for her, type of thing. If she were to go through, beat Chelsea, beat whoever on the other side, and win on Saturday night, it wouldn't break my heart. It wouldn't hurt my feelings. It's kind of a little, when you get into those conversations of, did she really need it? Isn't this supposed to, accentuate the mid-card more than the main eventers? Is this just another one of the 4 horsewomen coming in and da-da-da-da-da? Now, I should say as well, slight rumors that we might see the return of Charlotte Flair on this card as well. And if we have her interrupt Bayley, and we have Bayley and Charlotte Flair fighting over this new women's U.S. title, people are going to shit their pants.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because how dare Charlotte Flair, have stuff, because she's the best, and all that. Anyways. That's all I got. That's my probably my weirdest booking idea for.
I mean, you hear WrestleVotes talking. We're hearing that, hey, spoiler, injured star to return this weekend, imminently, possibly this weekend. So you think Charlotte comes back?
It's entirely possible that something could happen at some point.
Exactly. That's why I always had a problem with some of his early reports, because he was basically, he or she, whatever, WrestleVotes, they have always gone ahead and especially early on. Now I actually do believe they have some insider knowledge and it developed. But early on, that was like their predictions. They would just be like, something big is happening tonight. You should tune in. And then nothing would happen, and they would be like, "Oh, story and plans change."
But fortunately, that's a shortcut for them now, because something's happening on WWE TV most nights.
Exactly. And if it didn't, he would just say, "Oh, Vince changed his mind," which we could believe, but also, come on.
As well, we talk about, should it go to Bayley? Shouldn't it be to accentuate the mid card? Look at some of the other names that are in here. Candice LeRae, who was kind of in obscurity for a while. B-Fab showed out in her triple threat match. Blair Davenport, who we hadn't seen in a while. Lash Legend taking the place of
Piper Niven.
Yeah, Piper Niven was in there as well, but Lash Legend taking the place of Jade Cargill was really cool. Her and Jakara Jackson are basically main roster now, I think. Elektra Lopez, who, when was the last time we saw her fight? Piper Niven wrestling as a single star specifically, not, just representing her tag team, was a nice touch as well. I could do without everybody, and it happens to Nia Jax, too, to be fair. Every time they want to show that somebody is strong, be it Bianca Belair this past week on NXT, or Lash Legend in other scenarios, or probably Jade Cargill as well, every time they want to show, hey, look how strong this person is, they have them lift up Piper Niven or Nia Jax.
Yeah.
Is that not, and I'm not trying to be a pussy here, but is that not just saying, here's our big girls?
Essentially,
let's use them as the big boulders from strongman
exactly, the boulders that can't be moved.
And I'm you know me, I'm not doing some woke ass shit, but that's you're doing a thing there.
Yeah, they're knowledgeable of it, and because of how weight and size is always handled with the difference between men and women, it really feels.
I was gonna say it's not this. I hate to be going down this road. It's not the same as somebody body slamming the Big Show.
Yeah,
it's just not. I can rag on some people that I don't like, but let's not pretend that these ladies don't put up with a lot of shit.
Exactly. No doubt about it. And that's what makes me wonder, what are they going to do with Charlotte? Because she's been such a peculiar force for them to have to deal with. Really? I mean...
I'm kind of curious because...
People want to see her, but then they don't want to cheer for her, and,
They want to see her if their favorite is going to beat her.
Yeah.
Which is really... I don't know, because, in Charlotte's absence, there's one character that has changed a whole lot, and that's Rhea Ripley. I want to know what this Rhea Ripley looks like against Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, because Charlotte has always been a heel. She never had a good, solid, really face run. I don't remember any face run that worked with her.
I don't think she's going to be a face. People so outwardly reject her being a face, I don't think they're going to do it again.
I really hope not.
She'd be a hell of a first real feud for an incoming Jordynne Grace.
Yeah, no doubt.
That would be fantastic. I really want to see it. So, if I hop back into my news notes for a second, and we're on the topic of locker room leaders, because WWE don't run a sloppy shop. He's got a title shot that we're going to talk about later on tonight, but WrestleVotes noted the following: as we approach the 10-year anniversary of Finn Balor in WWE, sources tell us that he has absolutely solidified himself as a true locker room leader over the past year or so, and in addition, we are told to expect a sustained singles push for Finn as we head into 2025. As noted, I lost my place. New merchandise will be available shortly that will celebrate all the various aspects that we've seen of Finn Balor throughout his 10-year WWE career, as well as a bunch of social media bits and promotion.
Yeah, because you forget how long he was wrestling before that, making the Bullet Club and being busy in Japan and being their, next big star, and then he came over here and he's been handled oddly, let's say. He got pushed right away very hard, beat Seth for the inaugural Universal title, and then from there he got injured and it went to shit.
Got labeled as fragile for a while. But he's done everything but be in the main event, and I think in a weird way, he's been in the main event scene because the Judgment Day was the bloodline of Raw.
Yeah.
But
and then he went and challenged the bloodline, and they had the whole demon on the ground being resuscitated to the heartbeat, and then
oh my god,
probably one of the worst endings of the
where he
bloodline
fell off the turnbuckle.
Saga.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't fall. The turnbuckle collapsed.
Oh
remember?
Yeah.
It was
that
rigged
caused
to
him
fall.
To fall.
Yeah, no doubt. But I'm saying the whole thing collapsed, and it was like a sign from God. Roman tried to make it sound like this guy was the devil and God helped him win. I don't know. It was very bizarre and definitely a Vince-ism.
But I think that the idea that he's always been in the orbit, he was with Damian Priest when Damian Priest became champion. He was, the Judgment Day in general were fucking with people that were champions. He tried to fuck with some champions, but he was never really produced to be
the champion,
the main eventer, the legitimate threat, the potential future champion, whatever. But because he was always there but not there, that's the biggest part of what they say that he's solid and he's solidified himself as the locker room leader. I don't know. I imagine that being that close to the spotlight but not being in it takes a little bit of pressure off and allows you to share those elements with other people. But it's also if you're not in the main event, you're more likely to be wrestling every week. And then you become a constant, and constant is
worn
important.
Down. Yeah, constant is a good thing.
From
you can stay healthy.
From the company's point of view and from the fans' point of view, how many weeks did you not see Finn Balor? Hardly any.
Yeah, exactly.
He wasn't always wrestling.
No, but
he wasn't always wrestling. He was always
talking.
there, and he was always involved in, like I say, Judgment Day for a little bit there before it went off on its a little bit, on its goofier edges. Judgment Day was seen on the same level as the Bloodline briefly.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And, they were 1 and 1A type of thing. So he was always there and he was always part of it, and he was there, bigging up his boy, kayfabe or not, bigging up Damian Priest when he won at WrestleMania last year. So he's always been in the mix. There's an old quote from what the fuck is the show called? House of Cards. In one of the first episodes ever, and he's doing the narrator bit, the Kevin Spacey character. Yeah, I'm mentioning Kevin Spacey. Go be wild about it in the comment section. It's fine. But he's talking about his plan for the future, and it's all about location. How close are you to power? And it zooms out, and it's him just next to the president that's being signed in.
Yeah.
And it's it's all about location. It's all about proximity to power. And Finn's never not in our view.
Yeah, he's not in the wheelhouse.
So he's a constant presence in the story of the show.
Yeah, he's always also orbiting that main event scene, even with Gunther stuff. And
but from a company point of view, we need you out there every week, even if you're not doing. And if he's shown himself to be a constant, that means if he was there every other week or whatever, other people in the locker room that may be benefiting from him would only get to talk to him every couple of weeks. But if you're constant and you're providing all this mentorship or, like I say, locker room leadership, the person that's doing that has to be somebody that's there every week and somebody that's not carrying the weight of the spotlight. I imagine Cody Rhodes is a backstage leader type guy.
I picture him to very much be a locker room leader.
But he's carrying the spotlight and the brand and the company and everything. So
that's why he said turning heel at this point. It's not a matter of going full Homelander. And he even said that his robe was not supposed to resemble Homelander in any way. It was supposed to be more military. That's how he thought it was coming across, which makes sense when he says it. But he's to do so would be to derail an entire company, not just me to change. There's so much more to me being faced than just being a happy-go-lucky guy on TV. And it's people don't consider the business aspects to it and how everything, the ebb and flow of what they're trying to achieve, basically.
Coming from me, who didn't always like Cody Rhodes, I'll be honest, we've had these discussions. The biggest compliment I can give him, and this is with all due respect to who I'm about to mention, he's a better John Cena than John Cena.
Yes.
Because the crowd didn't let John Cena be John Cena. The crowd lets Cody Rhodes be Cody Rhodes.
Exactly.
And I think,
and that was a big to do.
And but you know what it also is? Because, like, WWE itself is just better now, so people are less likely to reject stuff. Doesn't mean Cody doesn't deserve it.
No.
Doesn't mean Cody doesn't deserve it, and we're going to talk about Cody later on as well.
But they're also respecting the fans' times, the fans'
Exactly.
mindset, history.
And he's not quite so shiny. Like, he does have some arrogance to him. He does have some swagger to him.
But he also handles himself like a realistic good guy would.
Yeah.
You know, he heard Carmelo talking, and he's like, oh, guess what? We're going to have a match. I'll see what you're up to. You know, that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
As where a lot of the other faces...
Yeah, John Cena backstage wouldn't have shoved Carmelo into the wall.
No, and it would have been, 5-on-1 taking on Cena, and he would walk out fine, unscathed, and those type of things. You know, the cartoonish faces that we would get at that point where it's beyond believability. You couldn't suspend disbelief long enough to believe that Cena... You know, I always go back to it, but him and Randy Orton, they had that I Quit match. They had Cena literally 1-on-3, because, what was it, Cody Rhodes and DiBiase. Legacy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Legacy. They went ahead and helped him in the match. They handcuffed him to the goddamn turnbuckle and proceeded to beat him with weapons and kendo sticks for like 10 minutes. Finally, he gets the handcuffs in front of him. He puts them around Orton's neck, and he taps in an STF. And it's like all of that for that. They beat him for 30 minutes for him to just reverse the last second, and Randy taps. But it was Super Cena, yet again, as where Cody lost Mania multiple times. Oh, well, Cena lost against The Rock only because they were going to tell a story. It was planned out to have more than once in a lifetime, you know.
I'm not going to lie. When The Rock beat Cena, I lost my fucking voice.
Oh, I was ecstatic too, no doubt. But
and it wasn't even because I was cheering for. Like, I'm a Rock guy. Don't get me wrong. But it wasn't even cheering for The Rock. It's just cheering for. Oh my God, they finally did it with somebody.
Yeah, they got Super Cena the fuck out of here, and they tried, and it did work. And then they tried to embrace the hate, and because they could have gone a lot deeper with him losing there. They really could have, without turning him heel either. They could have just had him embrace a little bit of a darker side, and, you know, what does he have to do to get this done with The Rock? Why did he doubt himself? No, instead it was just, hey, I'm going to steal your girlfriend while still being cheered, and then I'm going to watch you get thrown down a stage in a wheelchair. Like... So, at least they're respecting fans' time now.
Zack Ryder might come back.
Well, you know what? It really is, but it's the truth. And we saw the Monday before how that played out. You know, post-Survivor Series. We saw Punk come out, and he's not out there to challenge anybody. He's not out there to badmouth anybody. All he's there is to say, hey, guess what? I am going to Mania. I don't know how. I have many opportunities and roads to get there, but I'm going, and I'm going to
pointed at the sign before the sign was even there. Do you know how much I wasn't even like laughing or cheering out. I was just watching my TV and just smiling. Because that's I'm a Punk guy, but that's a Punk thing. Like,
absolutely,
you got to put your first foot forward. I'm not calling that I'm going to win the Rumble. I'm not calling that I'm going to win the Chamber, but I'm going there. You know, you can imagine that sign that's going to be there in a month or so.
Exactly.
That's where I'm going. Okay.
I love the people that thought he was going to debut a new sign. So that's what I'm saying. So now our intelligence is respected.
Yep.
More so, and the fans actually get a lot. You know, it weaved into Seth, then it weaved into Sami Zayn, and then now Drew and Sami, and you know they have Jey Uso in there still, and everybody weaves and flows, and there's that ebb and flow of no longer having that nonsensical bullshit. And we get everything to connect.
And you just transitioned into the next match that I want to talk about quite nicely,
Absolutely.
actually. Because Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre, apparently we weren't supposed to get this.
No, we weren't, which is funny to hear.
Apparently we were supposed to get one more round of Rollins and Reed, and then Reed went and fucked up his foot. Unfortunately, he's going to be out till way past Mania, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, really you see that in slow motion, he really fucked himself up.
Oh, yeah. But I'm just thinking, like, selfishly as a fan for a second,
I don't want to see him going either.
I don't want to see him going. Like, and they were finally getting him right.
Yeah, he was a great fit in the damn Bloodline.
He was a fit in the Bloodline, but even before that, like when the last time Seth left, when he did the 7 tsunamis, and then he had the monster match with Braun Strowman, because you have to, because they're big.
Yeah.
But a character like his,
it was great.
But a character like his was proven by previous regimes, it's so easy to get wrong because either he's just a big guy, kind of like the Nia Jax Piper Niven unfortunate example I gave a second ago, or it comes off as goofy.
Yeah, they're either undefeatable and infallible, like you can't do anything to hurt them, or they're just punching bags.
Yeah. So the thing that we almost
kind of miss a few spots in
we almost got one more round of him and Rollins. It's kind of unfortunate because I really like Rollins, and it means we didn't get Rollins on this card. They called Drew McIntyre back early. His explanation for why he went after Sammy is fucking brilliant.
So good.
So fucking brilliant.
You sided with CM Punk. Again, there's that logic. There's that sense being made.
No, but that's the thing. Not only did you side with CM Punk, you sided with CM Punk, who I hate. And Jay, who I hate, and Roman, who I hate.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
he can have matches with everybody after the fact there still, which is great to keep Drew busy. And in the meantime,
I wouldn't mind another go round of Drew and Jay. Not gonna lie.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't think we got the fullness out of that. In any way,
not by a long shot. And what's great is you see Drew right now. He just tweeted out a picture of Sami Zayn as an Uber Eats driver delivering French fries.
Oh no! Put the fries in the bag.
Exactly, put the fries in the bag, and it cracks me up.
But Sami Zayn is such like, I don't want to say he's soft because he's not soft as a character, but he's the only. I mean, Cody Rhodes did a little bit of it early on as well, but he's the
Sammy's like that bleeding heart.
He's the bleeding heart, but he's also the only one that can come out there and be like, come on, guys, like, you don't need to do this way.
Yeah,
come
get
on,
along.
give so-and-so, well, yeah, if we can't get along, let's get it on, but, like, give him another chance. You're not looking at it right, whatever the case may be. Like, in a wrestling show, to have a guy go out there and say, can we all stop fighting, and not be laughed at, it has to be Sami Zayn.
Exactly. It really can't be anybody else. I mean,
in a year where Drew McIntyre, with a lot of help from CM Punk, let's be real, but in a year that Drew McIntyre absolutely solidified him as one of the top 5 heels in the company.
Oh, absolutely.
By far, I would maybe say top 3. The only person that could push him any farther over the edge in an accomplishment frame of mind is Sami Zayn. Because if you lay a finger on Sami Zayn is Big E, but he can wrestle.
Yes.
And Sami Zayn will get
Sami did a great thing, too, by defending Jay. Mm-hmm. He's like, hey, whoa. I'm out here to be on your side until you made fun of Jay and started getting your nose in that business. So I like the way it fluctuated.
But you see how he tried to do that with Seth, and then he went to apologize, but then he went to Seth and said, I know that you're better than this. Right now, you sound like Drew McIntyre.
Exactly.
How does this all work? Magnets, man, how do they work?
How do they work?
But like, here's the thing. Like, there's nothing to do with New Day on this card, but like, think about how.
But that's building nicely too.
Oh, it is. Think about how hated Woods and Kofi are after 1 week, and they didn't lay a hand on Big E, obviously for obvious reasons, right?
Oh yeah.
That's just you said some mean things to a guy we like. What kind of hatred is Drew McIntyre going to get when he kicks Sami Zayn's head off? Because I do predict he's going to kick Sami Zayn's head off.
Oh, it feels that way.
I think he's coming back strong. I think he's going to come back for the win. I don't think it's going to hurt Sami Zayn in the slightest. It's that one thing that we always say that sounds repetitive, but like a loss isn't going to hurt Sami. A loss is going to help Sami Zayn's character, if anything.
Oh, absolutely.
Like as the sympathetic, he balances. This is what I was trying to say a second ago. He balances that sympathetic guy without ever feeling like a lesser guy. Like he's the scrappy dog in the fight, but he doesn't come off as small.
No, he doesn't.
Anyways, I think Drew's winning.
Yeah, it kind of seems like Drew's going to win this one because he's got other people still to face too. So
yeah, I think he's gonna. Here's the thing, Sami Zayn, I'm pretty sure I know where he's going for WrestleMania, and that's another conversation for another day. I don't see where Drew McIntyre fits in this WrestleMania. I know we're like 5 months out. I don't know.
I know, but everything is starting to come to.
It's all coming together.
Yeah, so to not have any of that kind of be not set in stone, but at least a bit more defined. Usually by now we kind of get into January time, we have an idea. Who's doing what, where, when, who the champions are going to be or are. Unless the Chamber changes something up with the title, it's usually not often that happens. So
I'm going to make a bold statement here, right? When we get to WrestleMania, whatever Cody, The Rock, and Roman Reigns are doing, none of them need to hold a title to do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And I know that opens a big door for another conversation down the road, but I don't think any of them need a title or need to be in title matches at WrestleMania, because the rumor is they're doing the triple threat now.
See, what I heard initially was that they wanted to do night 1 Roman and Solo, night 2 Cody and Rock. And then next year it's going to be Roman and Rock. But can they push it that long to really?
I've heard the triple threat, right? If you tell me
I've heard that as well.
If you tell me we're getting Rock, Roman, Cody triple threat match, I don't care. That could main event night 2, and it still doesn't need a title.
No, it doesn't.
Because I know the matches that I want to see for those titles when we get to Mania. Yes. I do, and I'm intentionally holding back on it right now for when we do some kind of like 2025 prediction board shit. Yeah. So I'm not going to spill the beans on that right now. People know who I like, so it's not that unpredictable, but the case may be. Speaking of Drew McIntyre and people that Drew McIntyre doesn't like, and staying on the theme of locker room leaders. Trick Williams sat down on the O'Shea Jackson No Contest Wrestling podcast to give his thoughts on CM Punk.
Ooh, and before you even go off, this is after knowing that Punk was at NXT this week, helping out yet again.
That's fantastic.
Evil bastard.
I'll be honest with you.
Soaking up NXT's time.
I'll be honest with you, man. I get the as happy as he is to be back and doing stuff and presented properly and he's going to have something big at Mania. We'll talk about it later. I think he's even happier to be on the other side of things. I really do. I don't have anything to base that on, but if you follow all his social, like hardly any of his social is main roster stuff. It's all NXT stuff.
It's all NXT stuff, mostly.
But some abridged comments from the O'Shea Jackson No Contest Wrestling podcast in their interview with Trick Williams said the following on CM Punk. And some of it's a bit broken up, so if I stagger step, you guys are going to have to forgive me. I didn't meet CM Punk until after the rumors of his character were brought about from other places. I didn't know what to expect when I met him, but all I was going to say is that dude, Punk, man, he's a good dude, like solid. You can just tell when people are being genuine, and he is very genuine. He takes pride in helping us, the next generation, to become the superstars that we need to be. He gives us real advice, too. He talks about how to handle yourself in the ring, outside of the ring, and everything it takes to be a superstar. Even the stuff that's closer to today's time, when we are dealing with different stuff, like social media and how to handle everything that comes with a superstar in 2024, that other superstars don't really have to deal with in any other way at any other time. He's been very helpful to a lot of us. So, locker room leaders in 2024. Wow.
Yeah.
Bayley, Finn Balor, and CM motherfucking Punk.
They are not in a bad spot, that's for sure.
No.
And I mean that as honest as I can be. I mean, my God, they are in a great spot with that. I don't think they could be in anything better at that point, because Bayley's a great person to have. She's always been like the mother hen. And we saw that before, like when Ruby was injured, Bayley was the one that gets everybody together to sign stuff and send stuff out. And that's just Bayley. That's just who she is. She's a good person with a good heart.
And she's the one out in showing up at TNA to cheer on Trinity when she was Trinity, showing up at AEW to cheer on the other one.
And when I talk with you, I know you and I often go off the rails. I started this pod going from a little bit left when you were saying right, but I wanted to get to the point. Well, the main goal was to show the difference between the two companies and how happy we are with WWE, when even a year ago it still wasn't to this level. And you see, the more Triple H gets to be his own decision maker, and he's more let into control, it just seems like things are going in a very enjoyable direction. I love it. Here's the thing, though. You just said it yourself. People don't know what to make of Punk, what to make of, and it's AEW that assassinated that version of his character. And then we look on and we look forward and we see, and we're like, oh my God, he's working great with everybody. He's been nothing but a help. And again, it just reinstates all the thoughts we had of, hey, I don't think it was his doing. He got the brunt of bullshit.
And really, I don't want to lean too far the other way, because when he had his very legitimate issues with WWE 11 years ago, I'm sure he wasn't fun to deal with in WWE either.
No.
Punk is even anybody that's a fan of CM Punk, Phil Brooks, however you want to refer to it, real life and kayfabe and all that kind of thing, I don't think any true fan of his is going to tell you that he's necessarily an angel or that he's necessarily the easiest person to work with. I imagine if he really latches on to somebody in NXT that he really wants to help, he'll probably be harder on them because he's trying to help them than we've heard from anybody that doesn't like him.
Oh, absolutely. But that's in like the best way possible.
Exactly,
you know? And that's the thing that we don't get to see much of because people are just always about the negative with him. Remember? Oh, in his contract, you got to put in a clause in case he fights with people and all that nonsense that was bitched about, and I love just seeing him vindicated over and over and over again because CM Punk, Phil Brooks, has been a favorite of mine for years. I wanted to see him back in wrestling. Mm-hmm. I was stoked when AEW brought him, in and gave him a chance to be like, hey, this is what you're getting. And it felt like CM Punk again. It did for a while.
And let's be fair. This is me saying let's be fair to AEW, but we saw a different side of Punk in AEW than we would have seen in WWE, just because there's some stuff WWE doesn't do. The best match / feud AEW has ever produced was him and MJF in the what was it, the dog collar match or whatever.
Yeah, Revolution, I believe.
Yeah,
it was.
The fucking bloodbath. It is what it is. That match. Okay, yes, and yeah, he had a rough match with Drew in Hell in the Cell, and it was bloody, and they did get to push some boundaries and whatever. That match was that match he had with MJF wouldn't happen in WWE. No. It just wouldn't, right? And he got to have some fun. He got to get himself a little group together when it was like him and Starks and FTR, and I got to see the 4-way or the 8-man tag live, and it was awesome. Yeah. We did get to see a sort of handcuffs off, not sports entertainment CM Punk. Yes. And for all I can say about AEW, I am glad we got to see that. But I'm also glad they fucked it up because he's going to get his WrestleMania moment now.
Not everyone can be hired by WWE. No. Not everyone can be on TV hired by WWE. You know, people that are hired don't get on TV every week, and we noticed that. I mean, they've gotten better about
and they're addressing that with 2 brand new titles.
Exactly.
I'll still say it's a hell of a. I'm sorry, I know I'm switching tasks a little bit.
No, go for it.
I still say I don't know if they're going to work, but I will say. They tried it in NXT with the Women's North American Championship. The balls on WWE to roll out 2 back-to-back titles, which not only need to be established, but are virtually the same thing on either show.
Yeah.
The high probability of one or both of them failing, not feeling important, not hitting the mark the way they're supposed to is high. But they are on a high right now that they can take those gambles.
Oh, absolutely.
That's just what I'm saying. It's why on the other side, where they're experiencing a low right now, you're scraping for everything you can get, and you're mistreating a lot of people.
Yep.
And a lot of that happened after they fucked with CM Punk. Because I'm betting, because I'm sorry, I say whatever you want about Generation Me and Daniel Bryan. And the Kenny Omegas and all that, and you know me, I came around on Kenny Omega too.
I did as well.
Say as much as you can about all of them.
I didn't like him or his matches.
As far as conversation, as far as moving the needle, as far as being what's the word? Being in the zeitgeist day to day. There is nobody that is more talked about day to day in the wrestling sphere than CM Punk.
Absolutely.
By people that love him and by people that hate him.
Talk about a cult of personality, huh?
So I'm sorry. When you look at it in those standards, he's the biggest name they ever got.
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry. I think what you're seeing now
is the fallout.
Fallout, obviously. But I think a lot of people are realizing the grass ain't necessarily greener. I think a lot of people, like your Starkses, your Ray Phoenixes, maybe your FTRs, maybe your Aleister Blacks, maybe your Miros, etc., are looking at that shit show go down and then the rollout of the security footage and all that bullshit and thinking if they will do that to him,
what are they going to do to me?
They'll do that to any one of us.
Exactly. He was the biggest star that they had, and that's a great point. So that, and then people not getting themselves addressed ever, and no answer from Tony for 9, 10 months at a time.
Medical neglect.
That as well. Ordering people food when they need an ambulance. I mean, the list goes on.
What's it called? Vindictive re-signing of contracts that didn't need to be re-signed. And I'm sorry. The people out there that are saying, oh my God, if Rey Fenix is going to be like this, why would Tony Khan let him go early? He's not trying to go fucking early. His contract was done. Tony took the option, made the choice to throw that extra shit on there. And if that's because of medical stuff that was created by him not getting medical care by Tony Khan, then Tony Khan can go fuck himself.
Yep. That's really what it comes down to. And
but on the other side of the coin, you got CM Punk main eventing pay-per-views with Drew McIntyre in Hell in the Cell, showing them how to do it properly without cinder blocks and hypodermic needles, and getting the praise that he deserves for passing on everything he has to offer to the next generation by somebody like Trick Williams. We've heard similar things from Carmelo Hayes. We've heard similar things from, Braun Breaker. And yes, some of the people that he helps happen to be women, you weirdos.
Because that makes him creepy.
That makes him creepy. I mean, he's grooming them. Fuck off, man.
Like, he's worked really close with obviously Roxanne and Cora for a while now, and considers them, their wrestling daughters.
And Roxanne and Cora are apparently really close with AJ. So yeah.
And they've been benefiting. You can see so much. Look how advanced their characters have become, and how much we've gotten from both of them. And
I'll say it again. I said it the other day. If you, unfortunately, RIP, don't have Dusty anymore, and you got to start a promo class, you might as well call it Pipe Bomb 101.
Exactly. CM Punk is not a bad person to start that program out.
I'm insanely happy for the guy. I just, you look at wrestling, you say, that's my guy, that's my girl, that's whoever. That's my guy, and he's flourishing where he should be. And more than a year later, I'm still celebrating his return.
Absolutely.
What else can I say? Like I say, all three of them, Bayley, Balor, and CM Punk, nothing new here. Nothing surprising here. I just like hearing it from as many people as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Switching gears now.
Yeah, I mean, continually, I think Drew will win as well. That leads into other things. And like you said, I mean, it just continues to build people. Damian Priest is being pulled up into the main event continually. Yep. Even if he can't beat Gunther, there's still something to be said about him being there, because he could have possibly beat Gunther, but Finn Balor was the wild card there. Now we don't know, and now they're having a triple threat.
Yeah.
I hope Gunther retains.
Well, here's what I wanted to say here, because I wouldn't normally do this, but in this case, I think it's apt.
Yes.
I guess we're leaving Liv Morgan and Io Sky till last, which is absolutely fine. Put them in the main event. But I want to combine the conversation of the world title and the WWE title. Not because they're directly related, but because of a feeling that I have. Two things. A, like we already said, they need to establish what a Saturday night's main event actually means. It's not just our version of Battle of the Belts.
Yes.
Right? For one thing. So you have to...
If it's a network special, you have to make it special. And I really feel like that's what they're trying to do. I mean,
yes. But there's that, but there's also an older WWE idea of, it's just, Survivor Series is over, we're just going to have a dead month, and then people will start giving a shit again after the Rumble, right?
And that's how it was for a long time and for many freaking years.
Right up, I can't think of very many years that I didn't feel like that. Even in the better days that we're in now, you'd be forgiven for thinking, okay, Survivor Series just ended. Rumble's going to be soon. Let's get excited about the Rumble, but let's get excited for that thing in the distance a month and a bit away.
That was the problem, because the Rumble was almost 2 months away.
Yeah, and
Survivor
now it's in
Series
February.
happened. Yeah, so now it's even further away. But we don't really have the lulls like we used to, thankfully. We're seeing things built up, and things are exciting. They're not taking a nap during the December time, where they used to, and we knew it. They would phone it in because, people are on break, they're on vacation, they're doing this and that. So they knew the viewership wasn't going to be strong, so rather than even try, they would just phone it in. That's how we end up with the wedding of Bobby Lashley and Lana. That's Jake, the kind of shit that prevails.
We've got a company that actually functions now, in part that this gear will touch the next gear, will touch the next gear, and if you don't have this gear, you've got a replacement ready to go. So people can, and they have, taken more time, and they have taken time off, and they have gone home to heal. They have, Drew McIntyre did go back to Scotland to deal with some family stuff. People can go and either heal or take some time off, or like Nakamura. We talked about Nakamura a little while ago. He kind of like fucks off for long periods of time and says, basically call me when you have something for me.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome that they can do that. Like it's a different slant on the conversation that we've always had. Oh, WrestleMania or wrestling should have an off season. Well, wrestling shouldn't have an off season. Individual wrestlers should get the rest they need.
Yeah.
Because there's enough of a machine now, and there's enough of a roster now that Seth Rollins can fuck off for 2 months if he's got something he's got to deal with. Cody Rhodes, if he drops a title, could fuck off for a while and magically come back at the Rumble because there's other people keeping the boat floating. But as I was saying, they need to prove what Saturday night's main event really means. They need to prove that December is not a dead month for WWE. So I'm putting you on the spot. The WWE title and the world title. I think one of them's changing.
Okay.
I don't know which one. I really, really, really want Finn Balor to win a one-on-one title match for that title at some point. I think it's really deflated in his case because it's been so long. Yeah. I really want it to be, I walked in against this guy and I beat this guy and I took his belt. The triple threat brings in all the history between Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Damian Priest acts as a distraction. It's not the main goal, which is the title. It's more sport than story. Yeah. I don't think he wins tonight. I don't think Damian Priest wins it back tonight. I don't think, if they surprise me and say yes, then cool. There is so much that can happen from Kevin Owens beating Cody Rhodes.
Exactly. I don't see it happening, but...
And let's talk about what belt they're fighting for, too.
Yeah.
The Winged Eagle.
Well, that's one of the things I was going to bring up. So they're basically teasing everybody, and you know what the surprise is. And I loved the Pulp Fiction-esque gold light coming out of the case. Like, that was a great touch. I've made many callbacks to that myself, so I was just dying laughing with them pulling that shit off. I'm excited. I'm just genuinely very excited to see what we have going forward. I mean, Cody wanted to bring back the Winged Eagle. They must have their reason, for not wanting to bring it back long term. But a retro night, going back to the 80s, and you're bringing back a retro title that everybody loves. It's a great way to market to fans that either love that belt or love the Attitude Era or love, what it represents. And I think that's just a huge point for them to have. I am absolutely all about it, and I can't wait to see how it looks. Yeah. That's and it sounds so cliche, but it is. It's my favorite belt as well. Always has been. That was my favorite time.
I wonder if they actually pull out one of the old ones that had the WWF logo on it, or do they have like the exact replica?
Yeah, one remade kind of.
But with the
new. I'm sure it's got the new logo on it. I don't think they can use anything with F. I'm pretty sure because they had to censor everything out of the network that they could.
Yeah.
They had to go in and blur every showing of WWF. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think that they'd. It would be certainly cool to see. I wouldn't hate it.
The actual belt. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still good. There's a bit of me that thinks and it's not necessarily WWE history, but I mean WWE owns WCW now. If they're gonna send him out with the Winged Eagle for Cody and Kevin, do you send Gunther out with the big gold for one night?
I mean, that would be. I would. It looks similar to the big gold to begin with what he has.
It does. So. It does. But the plate on the actual, the old big gold was so fucking huge.
Yeah, it was massive.
And Gunther's one of the few guys that wouldn't look ridiculous holding it.
No.
To be fair,
it would suit him very well.
I don't want to dilute the special thing that they've done for Cody and Kevin. And there's no chance that Cody Kevin isn't the main event.
No, but that would be cool that they go ahead and have everybody, come out with retro titles for the night and stuff like that.
I think the only thing about that is you can't do it for everybody because one of the matches here is to literally establish a brand new championship. And I don't when we get to Liv Morgan and Io Sky, which we'll get to in a second, I don't want Liv Morgan coming out with the Divas title. Because that would be shit.
Well, they could use the original women's title.
Yeah, they could, but I mean, somebody somewhere would be like, "Hey, this will be funny."
Yeah, exactly.
Don't do it.
No.
But I like I say, I'm kind of lumping the world title matches together. I kind of want to hold off if they're gonna give Finn Balor this push that we talked about.
Yeah.
And I really hope they do. I think it's gonna break him off from Judgment Day as well, which I'm also fine with because Demon Balor as the World Heavyweight Championship holder is something I need to see in 2025.
Especially a heel Balor if he's still in this heel.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like evil demon
Finn Balor would be
evil
great.
demon.
Yeah.
Evil lone wolf demon Finn Balor as the world heavyweight champion on Raw on Netflix.
Oh,
Put
I'm all
that
for
shit
it.
in my fucking veins.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't think it's happening yet. Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes. The Kevin Owens thing feels like it has to happen.
Yeah, and I mean, last year we got Owens and Orton and Logan Paul in the triple threat. So having it come down to Orton and Owens again feels a little like lackluster in a way, even though that was a triple threat. This is a singles, but with no title being involved, and it just doesn't feel like it takes priority in the story to be a Mania match. I mean, maybe they could do something.
All right, you know what? Fuck
Randy
it. I know I said
attacked Randy, and all that. So
I know I said I was going to save it till later. I'm going to say it right now. I don't care. The 2 title matches at WrestleMania should be CM Punk versus Finn Balor and Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens.
Ooh. I'm not going to argue that. That's totally different. You already said most of the other people you don't need a title for.
I was going to say, with Rock, Roman, Cody being a triple threat somewhere else on the card, or even if it main events one of the nights, I really don't care. Give Finn the title. Give Punk the main event title opportunity off of Rumble, or have him win at Chamber when I'm there. They're putting Chamber in the fucking dome. Let's go.
That's going to be nuts.
Chamber in the dome. It's gonna be
I know.
fucking
Just to
good.
Get that thing in there, forget about it.
I'm looking at the seating. I think I told you this before. I'm looking at the seating map for the dome. I don't think they're having a stage at all.
They might not with the chamber being so big.
With the chamber being so big, but like entryway, I think they're just like from the way it looks. And I mean, granted, it's only a graphic.
Yeah.
But it looks like you're basically just entering from the crowd. And I'm like, if that's the case, that's awesome.
Remember
cool. The one I don't remember which Rumble it was where they didn't make a stage and everybody was basically coming out of the dugout because it was like a ball field. I think something like that's going to happen.
Yeah, I liked it because they had to come around the long.
Yeah, it was that really long bendy.
Yeah, it had the turn on the end of it, and I think was 2020.
Am I a little bit excited about going to Chamber in the Dome?
Hell yeah.
It's going to be fucking good.
It's going to be sadistically awesome.
It's going to be fucking good. Supposedly, KJ from Wrestling for Life might be going as well, so I might bump into him.
Hell yeah.
That'd be cool. I like to meet people.
I've
met entirely one person sort of tangentially off of YouTube, and we're not going to go any farther with that story. Anyways, so we're going to talk about, the ladies are in the main event because it's not AEW. Liv Morgan, Io Sky. There's way too much other story happening here. I think Rhea Ripley fucks Liv Morgan. Io Sky goes and takes the belt elsewhere. Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley fight just because it's Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley and they don't need a belt.
Yeah, because then you can even get Rhea and Io at Mania if you really wanted it, and that was a rumored match.
That's where they're going eventually.
That's what it seems like. So I think you're right.
I don't care. I don't care.
They want a big thing. They want something massive to happen. They like title changes.
Keep them both face,
Survivor
too.
Series,
Keep them both face as well. Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley, just like we're both here because we're this fucking good.
Yeah.
I don't think you need a heel face dynamic in that scenario.
No, you really don't.
I don't think these two have fought one-on-one since NXT.
I don't think so either. And
I can't pull shit like that off the top of my head, but.
But no, I know we're not like Tony where we can remember what date, the attendance, and.
Yeah.
What time it started. But
no, you know who's really good for that, actually? I know I talk a lot about the other guy at What Culture, but Michael Hamflett is one of those guys that would be able to tell you who was on the top of the card, who was on the bottom, who had the dark match, and what did they have for lunch. Yeah. I wish I had an encyclopedic memory like that.
You
but I
and
just
me
don't.
both. An eidetic memory would always be great. I can't remember shit, and then I forget my head if it's not attached. So.
But I'm gonna. I don't know if it's a stretch or not. I think shenanigans or not. I think Io Sky wins. Either Rhea Ripley fucks Liv Morgan, or Rhea Ripley comes out to neutralize Raquel Rodriguez and Io Sky beats Liv Morgan straight up, which probably makes more sense.
Yeah.
Io Sky is awesome. I don't know what they're doing with Damage Control as far as Dakota Kai, because Dakota Kai seems to be like off in the corner. which
she
makes
was doing her own thing on Raw, and she's going for the IC women's title. It
Yes.
seems like.
It seems like that, but also like when you see them backstage, it's very like Kyrie and Io on one side and her on the other side, even though they're all talking pleasantly.
Yeah.
It kind of makes me believe that Dakota Kai might get a singles push and Asuka might be coming back, but I haven't heard anything about Asuka, so...
No, I haven't heard anything yet, but I imagine she'll be back sooner than later, so...
And I mean, there's a lot of trios in WWE in the women's division. It's almost like they should have a ladies trios division. Nobody else is really doing 6-man titles right now, are they?
Ring of Honor has them.
Not
AEW,
not very well. I mean,
but with women's, no, not that I'm aware of. I mean, there might be some promotion out there, independent, that's doing a women's title, but nowhere else that I'm aware
of.
Anyways,
if you think about it, like you've got Fatal Influence.
Yep.
You had Katana and Chance and Lyra.
Valkyrie. Yep.
You got the Kentucky Fried Chicken trio there. You've got Damage Control. You had Isla and Alba looked like they were teaming with Blair Davenport for a while, which I thought would be really cool because you could call it the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
Like there's more trios in the women's division than there are tag teams. So like, I don't know. Maybe don't make it a title, but have
a division for it. Yeah.
No, but like
because I'm already worried about these two titles as is the women's card.
Maybe not as a title, as a one-off, one-night event, a women's 6-woman tag tournament.
Yeah.
As a standalone one-night event, I think that would be insanely fun.
That would be great.
Put the Blair Witch Project up against Damage Control. Swap out Dakota Kai for Asuka. Maybe have the 3 good horsewomen as a dark horse in that tournament as well. No pun intended, except definitely pun intended. Because Becky, at this point in their careers, Becky, Charlotte, and Bayley being on the same team would just kill everybody.
Yeah,
and
no
it would
kidding.
be fun.
And they would destroy everybody.
And it's not like we needed the MMA 4 horsewomen because Shayna Baszler's got her own weird group there. They need a better name, and they're 3 awesome wrestlers in a group with a shitty name. That's what they are right now.
No, you're not wrong, and that's the thing too. Like, that's what really makes me think they need a title change, and where does that feel the most possible? Right here. Yeah. I feel like Liv Morgan would lose the belt because of Rhea's interference, and maybe Raquel goes to save her but can't quite get it, and then that's what happens. I mean,
I was gonna say, like, the more we're talking about it, I don't want Rhea to come out and actually fuck Liv over. I just want Rhea out there. For one thing, because it's Rhea
like
Ripley,
a distraction,
fucking awesome. No, as the neutralizing factor for Raquel Rodriguez, and so nothing happens to Liv Morgan. What throws her off her game is that she doesn't suddenly have the numbers advantage that she thought she had.
Yeah,
because that's better than Liv Morgan lost because she got fucked because she's the heel. And you don't want to put the heel in a sympathetic situation. But hey, you lost because you didn't have backup isn't a sympathetic situation.
No.
Anyway.
It doesn't feel right either. So, I don't know. But with her screwing over Liv, I could really see it, mattering.
It's justified.
Yeah. And they attacked her. They broke her eye socket at NXT. Like, just because she beat them at War Games, she hasn't gotten her full revenge yet, really?
I would say, okay, from a psychological point of view, Rhea Ripley stays in the back, lets Io win clean, waits until afterwards, lets Io have her moment, and then comes and picks the bones. I think there's
I see what because you want to put Io over, but I think they can do that with other things going forward as far as matches and other things go. Because I feel like if they do that here, they're really kind of shooting themselves in the foot because you want some rebuttal, you want some justice, and Liv has destroyed Rhea in many ways. She took her man, she took her title, and then she took her out of action. Twice now. She damaged her shoulder and then her eye socket. Mm-hmm. So she's missed out on a few things now because of said bullshit. So
wouldn't it then be the sweetest revenge when Liv said, I'm going to take everything from Rhea, wouldn't it be the sweetest revenge to watch Io walk away with the belt? Maybe Rhea attacks Dom on the way to the ring, so that he's not a factor either. So
if she attacks everybody else, I would be okay with that.
So she loses the belt, she loses her backup, she loses her boyfriend because her boyfriend's down on the rampway. Rhea Ripley stumbles upon a Liv Morgan that now has nothing left, and still kicks the shit out of her.
That would be interesting, no doubt
about it. At her lowest ebb.
Yeah.
Anyways, speaking of people that can kick ass, though, because I know I've got to get you out in a couple minutes. I do want to talk about one more little news bit that came out this week, and I'm not pulling it from No DQ. I'm literally pulling it from television 2 nights ago. We talked about Fatal Influence. We talked about their tag team match with Tatum Paxley and the returning Gigi Dolan.
Yes.
Man, were they the victim of the 3-on-2 advantage. Who could possibly come and say, my girl, Shotzi fucking Blackheart?
Hell yeah, I did not see that coming. That was not a possibility or even anywhere near my bingo card.
I popped.
I was going nuts. I saw the photo and I was like, wait, no. And then I watched her come out. I was like, hell yeah, that's what we needed.
Because when you talk about putting people together, like, I wouldn't have pulled out of, like, anywhere. Oh, let's Tatum and Gigi. Yeah, okay, Gigi's just come back. If she's going to work with anybody, it's probably going to be somebody creepy like Tatum Paxley. Everybody was saying, oh, if they get double teamed or triple teamed or whatever, it'll be Wendy Chu coming in, which, no offense to Wendy Chu, I like Wendy Chu, but I get why other people don't, so that would have gotten a mixed reaction. I would have said maybe Rosemary comes in and they've sort of met, her and Paxley have kind of mended fences to some degree, but that seems to have kind of cooled off at the moment. As soon as she was there, I had that whole, how was that not the first thing I thought of?
No, I felt that exact same way too, but I'm like, I didn't even consider her to be a choice because they have other women in NXT that you figured they would want to showcase. Yeah. But this is great because they're doing nothing with her really currently on the main roster.
Well, she's just come back from injury, right?
Exactly. But I'm saying if they don't have anything planned and she's not really doing anything, like she's not going to be, then hell yeah, let NXT take advantage of her. At least then she'll be used and doesn't have to travel everywhere and can really, be beneficial for her.
That is a good point too. If she's just coming back from injury, she might be cleared to wrestle but not want to travel yet. I hadn't even thought about it from that perspective, but yeah. But just to see, like, those
logistics matter nowadays.
The second you saw them as a team, though, I'm like, how is this not already a thing?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, one of the people across the ring was the former tag team partner of Gigi Dolan and JC Jane.
Yes.
And they looked more opposite than
the backstabber herself,
than her brand new partner that just came out 5 minutes ago.
Yeah,
funny enough. If you see the still shots, did you notice Shotzi's gear?
No, I didn't.
She came out there to help even the odds, to be a friend, make a friend, and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
If you look at her gear, it's all dark and black and green because that's her aesthetic, right? If you look at her top, obviously she's got nice tits. Like, there's 2 big patches of fabric on the front. One boob had Gigi on it, like a photo of her, and one boob had Tatum, a photo of her. So her brand new friends are already on her tits.
That's awesome. I didn't even catch that.
You wouldn't catch it because they were obviously in motion. Like, I saw the still shots of the 3 of them backstage. That's the only time I caught it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. She's got them almost like in gold on her. Yeah, it's so cool to have both girls covering her boobs. And then even more so, not only the surprise and like we said, all of that, but I loved how they even gave you like a little hint earlier on in the night, because she's got her doll, she's walking down, and she's got a doll that has the green hair. And I didn't even think about Shotzi.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, so they're in the back and they're talking before the match. And you go ahead and you see them together, and then she's walking around with a doll that has green hair, and she's like, well, I've got a friend, and then she gets cut off, and then they walk out. And then when they're walking in the back, she's holding 2 dolls.
Yep.
So one that represents Gigi and the other one that represents, obviously, Shotzi. So one had red hair, one had green hair. But that little itty-bitty...
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah.
I was probably multitasking or something, yeah.
Well, it went so quick, too, because before she went out there, she was like, but I have a friend. And then she got cut off by Gigi, and she had the green-haired doll that she held up. So knowing that Shotzi returned, I'm like, oh shit, they referenced it before they even brought her out there, and that's exactly what they did, and it was just a really good holy shit moment that they pulled out of nowhere.
Yep. So you know what I like? I love bragging about the women's division in WWE. It's my thing, right? But like, we just got Julia, we just got Stephanie, we just got Zarya, all 3 in a row. Plus the ladies that are already there killing it. Plus, we're waiting on Jordynne Grace. Plus, we're waiting on the return of Becky and Charlotte and Asuka. And by the way, if that's not enough, here's Shotzi. Fucking A, let's go. You and I talked about it. I didn't have exactly the best day on Tuesday. And
No,
I'm like,
certainly not.
wrestling knew I needed something. Wrestling gave... Fans need and wrestling provides.
Yes, and isn't that the truth? You know, when you're at your lowest, wrestling picks you up. It's one of the reasons I always love watching it. And
that's my thing too. Like I've always said about wrestling, very, very similar, is if you're having a bad day, wrestling will cheer you up. If you're having a good day, you can celebrate by watching some wrestling.
Exactly.
I mean, that goes for any kind of entertainment that's your entertainment of choice, but wrestling specifically, if you're having a bad day and you want to at least imagine punching somebody else in the face, it's fine.
I mean, we have so much to look forward to here. The road to WrestleMania is basically all in Europe from Friday the 14th of March until the 31st.
Yep.
They are everywhere from Spain all the way back to England.
And they will be broadcasting in real time on Netflix.
Which I love because, hey, guess what? If you want to see it then you can be up or whatever at that time and watching. If not...
Well, I'll be at work, but whatever.
Yeah, but I'm saying at least you can come home and immediately start it, and it's not like you missed really anything. You know, it's still there for you to consume.
The only thing I don't get, and this is where we get into the minutia of the TV deals again, is like the rest of the world has all 3 shows on Netflix. You guys still have NXT on the CW and SmackDown on USA?
Yes.
Is that the case? So when we get SmackDown in real time on Netflix, are you guys still going to get it at the normal 8 o'clock time because you're watching it on regular TV? Yeah. I see the ratings conversation is going to go out the window because of Netflix, but like the ratings conversation even for SmackDown is going to kind of go in the toilet because how many people are just going to get a VPN and just watch some not American Netflix?
Oh, no doubt. Absolutely.
Like, USA and CW are kind of going to get boned starting next year.
Yeah.
Because people that are in a particular area that don't want to watch that area, what that area has available, are just going to get a VPN and watch it from a different area. Like, there's so much that you guys have on Netflix that we don't because we have our Canadian content rules that are silly. I don't know how to describe it, but it's basically like...
The way content works, yeah.
Anybody showing anything in Canada or that wants to broadcast in Canada has to have a certain percentage of Canadian homemade content.
Ah.
So there's a bunch of stuff that you can search on.
So that's why they have to be there every so often.
That's why you go and search something on Netflix and it's like, well, this isn't on Canadian Netflix because we had to make room for, you know...
Worldwide.
Georgie's maple syrup hour, and that's me saying that. Anyways,
well, that's what makes having Netflix exciting, you know.
The Netflix thing is going to be crazy.
Yeah, it'll be a better version of Peacock and the network, hopefully, in the end, because Netflix is...
And I keep saying it, and I want to throw as much credit as I can to TNA. I'm not previewing the TNA show that's happening tomorrow night because, guys, I haven't watched any TNA, and I'm not going to be around to watch the show. I'll just be honest. But if you want a small preview of what Netflix for WWE is going to be like, just try TNA Plus. Because it's one-stop shop for the weekly show. Well, actually, they have 2 weekly shows now, so good for them. They have Impact and Explosion.
I mean, because one of the things I was really shocked to hear about is Nick Nemeth taking on AJ Francis.
Yeah.
I mean,
but you know what? He's a good dude, and he's a really good spokesman for the company, and he does some really awesome shit outside of wrestling. So good for him. I'm happy for the guy.
Well,
I met him. Too. He's a bear.
Yeah, and he's a really great guy, and he's like, a year ago people would assume that I would never wrestle again. All I heard was how terrible I am. I'm a joke.
$5 and all that.
Yeah, all that stuff. He's like, I didn't just become a good promo this year. I started being able to cut them. He's like, now, when I was in WWE, I feel like they wanted me to be a backup offensive lineman. I'm on a team, but we don't really need you. He's like, TNA, I'm a fucking quarterback. Yeah, exactly. So, great on him. Joe Hendry, all these guys have really advanced a great deal. And that's one of the things that I really appreciate about TNA.
WWE really got off the TNA thing. They don't show Joe Hendry anymore. It's like, do you not think it's really cool that WWE is doing all this and still has something cool like Joe Hendry showing up in the Rumble in their back pocket?
Exactly.
Anyways, my point being by mentioning TNA is the main thing that I wanted to say about the Netflix thing is it's going to be bizarre to be going to a one-stop shop for your weekly content and the pay-per-views, which is what TNA Plus already does. Like, you turn into TNA Plus for Impact, for Explosion, and for the pay-per-views, all in one place. And that is a microcosm, if I'm using that word correctly, of what Netflix is going to be for us. We're going to go, well, sorry, Jake, but the rest of us are going to be going Raw, NXT, SmackDown, pay-per-views, all in one spot. I'm gonna be watching.
So we got
I'm gonna pull up
WrestleMania.
I'm gonna pull up WrestleMania on my phone just because I can. Yeah, I don't even know what's on the Final Resolution card because
there's like the number one contendership is Joe Hendry versus Josh Alexander versus Santana versus Macklin. I don't even know how to call that one.
I would probably go with Santana, honestly, because Santana's kicking ass right now.
Then you got the Hardys in the System in a tables match.
Okay.
Moose taking on Kushida for the X Division match. Jordan Grace and Rosemary in a singles match.
Ooh.
Ace Austin versus Trent Seven. And then Masha Slamovich taking on Tasha Steelz. So I'm not.
I like Masha, but Tasha Steelz. I mean, they're going back to their tag team split that happened like forever ago. It sounds like.
Yeah,
Jordan Grace and
Rose, right?
Yeah. Yeah, something like that. Jordan Grace and Rosemary, though, I will be sure to watch the fuck out of that.
Absolutely, sign me up. So out of everybody, I think Chelsea Green wins. I think Io Sky is going to beat Liv. I think that Gunther will retain. I think Drew's beating Sammy, and I think Cody Rhodes is retaining.
Really?
That's my final quick five, sir. Yeah, that's my final predictions.
I'm going Chelsea Green unless Tiffany Stratton cashes in. I'm going Io Sky. I'm going Gunther, even though I want Balor. I'm going Drew McIntyre, and I want the chaos that will come when Kevin Owens beats Cody Rhodes.
I mean, could you imagine he loses the title at Saturday night's main event? How massive that would be.
I'm saying you, man, you got to prove that Saturday night's main events are things you don't want to miss.
Absolutely,
and Charlotte Flair might come back. Yay!
Yeah, I mean, essentially, we could have re-debuts, we could have comebacks from injury, and then we can also have more surprises. Plus the Winged Eagle belt. I mean, we're loaded.
Yeah, and as I say, quick programming note: I won't be able to join Jake, but Jake will be doing a review, response, reaction, whatever, to Saturday night's main event this coming Saturday. If you go back on his channel or on my audio feeds, you will hear all of our reactions and responses to NXT Deadline. Yes, I'm still calling it NXT Deadline.
Yes,
other than that, Jake, tell them where to find you.
You can find me on Twitter at Countdown Ended, on YouTube at youtube.com/Jake DeMarco, or you can look me up Jake Countdown Ended DeMarco there. And then you can find me here, guest hosting with Spaz.
And you guys know where to find me, or you wouldn't be here. I've been Spaz. This has been Jake. We have previewed Saturday night's main event. We've talked about all the locker room leaders in WWE because they actually have them, and we've talked a little bit more about how AEW sucks. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, me and Sexy Jake are tagging out. Bye.
Free Ray Phoenix.